I'm Kong, and today I'm going to review the new YouTube Red series Cobra Kai. I'm not going to go into detailed spoilers or how things end in any detailed description, because that would not be fair if you wanted to watch the series. But I will talk about the characters and some events and similarities. This is an awesome new series based on the original 1984 movie, The Karate Kid, with the main actors reprising their roles 34 years later. It is centered around the characters Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence as they live out their lives as adults and parents. The first episode is focused on the character of Johnny, who we find is down on his luck, and that is a surprise, as the last time we saw Johnny, he was some rich kid. We didn't expect him to be in this current state. This is a theme throughout this series, where we see things flipped, and it's enjoyable to see how the characters deal with their current situations, which may be dramatically different from their old school days. The series establishes strongly where it has come from, with a great 80s soundtrack. And ideals and throwbacks to the 80s, which is really smart when you consider who the audience might be. I would expect there is a strong following from males around the late 30s to 50 mid or thereof, who find themselves in similar circumstances as Daniel and Johnny, growing up with kids and now understanding how the world is, which is so different from when they were young. There are a lot of parallels to the original movie with a few twists, e.g., Johnny rescues a kid from some bullies.
Hey! Watch your car, man. Get the hell out of here, loser.
But is not overly interested in the kid afterwards. This is similar to when Mr. Miyagi saves Daniel, but also different at the same time. Having left off in 1984 with Johnny being the bad character, we return to a point where we kind of feel for the guy. We have all grown up and understand that people change over the years, and I want to give him a chance to be a likable character. The writers did a great job because by the end of the first episode, I am rooting for Johnny. He has become somewhat my favorite character by this point, and I want to see how that develops. Daniel, on the other hand, is successful and a bit arrogant.
Johnny? I knew it was you. This is Johnny Lawrence. He and I go way back.
Oh, this is the guy whose ass you kicked.
If you want to get technical, I kicked his face.
He also seems to be quite insecure about himself and his past at points, and appears that he has never gotten over his confrontation with Cobra Kai and has surrounded himself with his success and achievements as a sort of shield. This is also great writing, as it is a twist flip on Daniel's character. You would expect him to be more centered and balanced, but he is still the Daniel we first met, impetuous and irrational. Surprisingly, I am starting to dislike his character by the end of episode 2, which is great because I get to now experience something new and fresh. Another noticeable thing in the earlier episode is a type of warming technique is used where moments that build up to a dramatic climax are punctuated with comedy.
God doesn't give people things he doesn't want them to use. And he gave you the touch. It's a power you have inside of you. Down there where you keep your guts, boy. It's all you need to blast your way in and get back what they took from you.
Bonsai! Daniel LaRusso here for LaRusso Auto.
To remind us that we are still having fun and enjoying our journey. As the series moves on, the drama intensifies and becomes compelling to watch. We get to experience Daniel's life and the struggles he has with his family and teenage daughter, who has moved into the popular clique at school. We are also introduced to a new cast of characters comprising of his daughter, Miguel, and later in the series, Robbie, who are the sub-story's main characters. It's hard to say who is the protagonist and who is the antagonist, as the story constantly shifts around, changing the characters' behaviors as they are influenced by the changes of circumstances in their lives. This is great as it brings the story to the audience by being real rather than the classic good guy, bad guy scenario. As Miguel progresses through his own karate training with Johnny, we see the principles of Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, no mercy, take on a new meaning and an application to life, and I for one can appreciate this philosophy as explained by Johnny, which is summed up by the explanation that life is good, then it all turns bad and you'd better have been prepared for that. There is also a strong theme of bullying in the series, which is illustrated in several scenarios with different characters. The main culprits, however, are Kyler and his crew, who become manipulative and vindictive to the point that you would like to punch them in the face yourself. Now that's great writing to be able to elicit such a disliking for a character. There is also a theme of two young men that are looking for role models and guidance. Johnny is torn between his responsibility as a father to an estranged son and his responsibility to his students in Cobra Kai. There is a lot of emotion and feelings of self-discovery during the series, and the acknowledgement of past failures and the determination to reconcile past shortcomings. One great scene I like is when Johnny is reading into the philosophies of life, watching Iron Eagle. That is a classic 80s moment when the moral of the story is revealed and the character moves on to become something stronger than they were before. Johnny's character is revealed layer by layer as the series progresses, and we get to have a deeper understanding of his character and motivations. I wish that Daniel would take the time to stop and really try to understand Johnny's point of view. This, of course, is not done deliberately to create drama and conflict, which plays out very well. We also see a different side of Daniel as he phases through different emotional states and sets out to destroy Johnny's business without considering anyone else that might be affected by that action. He becomes emotional over reason and loses his judgment on several occasions. Daniel is desperate to regain some balance, and we see him visit the grave of Mr. Miyagi. He resolves to go back to his base teaching, and we see him back in his karate gi. But for me, there is something lost. I don't feel for the great comeback of a hero. In fact, I don't want that at all. Daniel has left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, and I've now sided with Johnny. The great thing about Johnny's character is that he has no sympathy for today's ideals that are taught and persists with the old school way of doing things and pushing his students hard to prepare them for what life will be for them when they get out there alone and away from their safe spaces. I like that about this series. It does not cater to the politically correct and actually challenges it. It is refreshing to see as real life is quite different than the ideal life. We can see that although the old Cobra Kai ideals are still the basis of the style, there is a twist to it. The weak kids are given strength, and Johnny is developing a self-reliance among his students. He is succeeding in merging the old Cobra Kai style with his own ideas, moving in a different tangent from Christ's ideals of the 1980s. I also love the little homages to the 1984 movie. And we get to revisit Daniel's apartment block and girlfriend staff who have still not fixed their rotating sign. We even get to go back to Miyagi's, where it all began. There are lots of bits and pieces from the original movie, but all tastefully introduced to the new episodes. This is what the reboot should have been, and the series plays out like an extra long movie. Nearing the end of the series, there appears to be a point of reconciliation between Johnny and Daniel before everything gets turned upside down and all the major players have some traumatic event that occurs and changes their character arcs. By the climax of the series, we are back at the All Valley tournament. I like the way this is played out and was written. We have a similar situation to the All Valley in 1984, but things play out differently. And without giving away any of the details, Daniel ends up determined to combat Cobra Kai and introduce his own style of karate, while Johnny has come to a point where it appears that he is questioning the extremity of the Cobra Kai ideals and what costs they have when put into literal practice. There is a surprise reveal at the end, which has the potential to impact on Johnny's character in a major way and will create a lot of internal conflict for him, as well as challenge his resolve. What I would love to see would be a collaboration of the hard style of Cobra Kai and the harmonious style of Miyagi-Do karate, where Johnny and Daniel teach together. I would imagine that would be the ultimate finale to the whole series. It has just been announced that there will be a second series, and I personally cannot wait because the potential for it to be absolutely amazing is right in their grasp. And there may be more characters that could return that would make it a real experience to watch. I would absolutely recommend watching this show to all the old school Karate Kid fans and also the new generation of kids looking for something that breaks the mold of the old cookie cutter story arcs. I give it the 10 bananas out of 10 bananas, and it has inspired me to rewatch the original Karate Kid films and review those also. They will be part of my retro movie review series. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more reviews. Please subscribe, like, and share if you know someone else who would like this video. I'm not old boy.
Hey, Sensei, is there any particular way you want me to wash these windows?
No, I don't give a shit.